This is the L2C Media Network, and this is Sports Final with Steve the Baxman Baxley, the latest sports and headlines. Live from the Fred McLeod Sports Desk at the Tom O'Neill Studios here in Jackson. And we're sponsored in part, as always, by the L2C Media Network. I'm Harry Von Stuttgart, your announcer, and here now with the details of the day in sports. Here's Steve. All right. Thank you very much, Harry. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our little broadcast. And we are literally right on time. Ain't that fun? Okay. Let's get on with it. Let's go to the NBA and get you all the scores that we got. And it is a night one of opening night of the NBA. Can we bring that just a little bit better? Thank you. Of the National Basketball Association. 2 games on the schedule for today and tonight. And let's bring you the final scores. Actually, we speak, and the other is a final, so let's hit the one that needs updating, shall we? 8 minutes, 4 seconds left to play in the third quarter. LA Lakers lead the Golden State Warriors by 364-61. And our final score, the defending world champion Milwaukee Bucks beat the Brooklyn Nets by a score of 127-104. And the scoring leaders for this game were Anted Okonkwo for Milwaukee, 32 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. And for Brooklyn, Kevin Durant, 32 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. And a partridge in a pear tree. Night 2 of the opening week continues. Here are the games that are slated to go. And there will be a full slate tonight or tomorrow. Actually, in about 20 minutes, it will be Wednesday night. Bulls, Pistons, Pacers, Hornets, Celtics, Knicks, Wizards, Raptors, all between the hours of 7 and 7:30. Then 8 o'clock games will be Cavaliers, Grizzlies, Rockets, Timberwolves, 76ers, Pelicans, Magic, Spurs at 8:30. 9 to the late games, Thunder, Jazz, Nuggets, and Suns at 10. And Kings and Trailblazers at 10 also. So got a big night of basketball games for you tomorrow night. We will, of course, bring you every little bit of finals that that they have for us. And that's the NBA. Now we go from the hardwood to the hard synthetic ice. First, a little stopover to Major League Baseball. By the way, once again, all the scores we give you are presented to you by the fun folks over at Caesars Sportsbook. Remember, we are all Caesars. Final score in Game 3 of the National League Championship Series, and the Dodgers finally woke up. They beat the Atlanta Braves 6-5, 6-10-0 for the defending World Series champion Dodgers. 5-12-0 for the Atlanta Braves. The winning pitcher was Gonsolin. He's 1-0. Jackson had the loss. He's 0-1. And Jansen for the Dodgers got his first save. The top of the 9th inning, we have the Red Sox leading the Astros. Red Sox, 3-2. There's 2 outs right now and 2 on. Red Sox need to get it all together if they want to take the Astros near extinction in the ALCS. All right, we go to the hard ice, the NHL. We do our hockey coverage. Yes, we start off with the NHL if we can get everything back in, and we do. And not not too busy a night, but still, let's bring it to you. We're going to call this one. There's 36 seconds left to play in regulation. Edmonton Oilers lead the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim 6-5. Final scores: Capitals over the Avalanche 6-3. Final in a shootout: Stars over the Penguins 2-1. Holtby for Dallas, 27 saves. Reffy for Dallas, 1 goal. And Jerry for Pittsburgh, 28 saves. They are your Molson 3 stars. No reports on the Avalanche and Capitals. Panthers beat the Lightning 4-1. The defending Stanley Cup champion Lightning, that is. No 3 stars reported. New Jersey Devils over the Seattle Kraken 4-2. Mercer for New Jersey, 1 goal. Graves for New Jersey, 2 assists. And Severson, 1 goal, all New Jersey. Nice little sweep. The San Jose Sharks blanked the Montreal Canadiens 5-0. Dolan for San Jose, 2 goals. Meyer for San Jose, 1 goal, 2 assists. Carlson for San Jose, 1 goal and 2 assists. Buffalo Sabres beat the Vancouver Canucks by a score of 5-2. Girgensons for Buffalo, 1 goal, 1 assist. Okposo for Buffalo, 1 goal, 1 assist. And Thompson for Buffalo, 1 goal. Sabres over the Nuck, 5-2. Red Wings took care of the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-1. Larkin for Detroit, 2 assists. Raymond for Detroit, 1 goal and an assist. Corpusalo for Columbus, 41 saves. More final scores for you. Nashville Predators over the LA Kings, 2-1. Islanders over the Blackhawks, 4-1. That's the Linda Steele Chicago Blackhawks. And in overtime, the Minnesota Wild over the Winnipeg Jets, 6-5. And that is the NHL. How about the AHL? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we had some games on the minor league schedule. Let's give you the scores and the stories therein. And if some games go on, we'll try to do something for you. All right, let's... Okay, only one game to report on for tonight. That is in the end of 2 periods. It's the Ontario Reign 2, the Abbotsford Canucks 1. And if you want to listen to either game online, the Ontario Reign, we have the listing right here. Yay. Let's see. I don't think the Ontario Reign have a... this is a... here we go. Let's take a looky-loo in the bookie-boo. The Ontario Reign's coverage is online. The Abbotsville Canucks unavailable at this time. So 2-1 Reign over the Canucks. And that's the only game scheduled over there. Let's check out the Ontario Hockey League, find out how they're doing for tonight in meaningfulness of scorage. And one game scheduled, one game scheduled in Ontario. The Kitchener Rangers beat the Guelph. I love how to say that. Guelph. But do we have the title name here? No, we don't. We forgot to put that down. Oh, yeah. The Guelph Storm. 4-2, the final score. And there you go. And that is your look at hockey right here, right now. Let's get you over to Oh, we've already did the NBA. We've did the baseball. And by the way, Houston leads the Red Sox 3-2 in the ninth inning. That game, of course, on Fox Sports 1. Okay, let's do some headlines because I think that's about, want to do that there. Let's take you on the road of headlines. NBA season tipped off Tuesday night, and it was the Milwaukee Bucks who came away with the first win of the season and a dominant 127-104 performance. Kevin Durant, James Harden, and the Brooklyn Nets. The Bucks also received their championship rings and raised a banner to the rafters of Fiserv Forum to kick off the opening night of the league's 75th anniversary. Reigning Finals MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo led the Bucks, finishing the win with 32 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 assists. Chris Middleton tacked on another 20 points and 9 rebounds, while Grayson Allen added 10 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds to help overcome the loss of Drew Holiday for the second half. For Brooklyn, Durant and Harden paced the Nets offensively, combining for 52 points, 19 rebounds, and 12 assists in the loss. The Bucks showed minimal rust throughout the game, while Brooklyn struggled to get into a rhythm and couldn't stop Milwaukee on the other end of the floor. It's just one game, and the Nets will be able to use this loss as an opportunity to make adjustments for their next matchup. But until then, let's give you the takeaways from the Bucks Nets game. The Bucks domination was all but perfect. Thank you. Bucks domination perfect. From opening tip to the final buzzer, they controlled everything about this game. And when it was that Drew Holiday wouldn't return to the game with a right heel contusion, which kept him off out of the second half, George Hill stood into that familiar role and operated as a facilitator for the Bucks. But of course, the most impressive part of Milwaukee's win was the performance of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Not a bad way to win. And let's go on to the next one. In the National Football League, the Cleveland Browns, maybe without starting offensive tackles Jack Conklin and Jarek Wills for Thursday night's game against the Denver Broncos, and Von Miller certainly took notice. Miller said via the Broncos website, Eric D. Lala, I'm going to go out there and going to have to play well and get a couple of sacks. And if I do that, then and I can get sacks and I can find a way to disrupt the game, we'll win. The pressure is on me to play well. Who the tackle is I'm going to go against, but I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. And the other guy, too, on the other side. I'm going to play extremely well and make plays for my team. I'm going to set us up and win this game for sure. Unquote. Man, if that doesn't give you boastfulness, I don't know what does. Miller also mentioned how productive he was in the first 3 games that helped the Broncos to victory, and he's right. Miller had 4 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, and 6 tackles for a loss in that stretch, also having 15 pressures. On the season, Miller has 25 pressures and 4.5 sacks with 8 quarterback hits. As for the Browns tackles, head coach Kevin Stefanski won't rule on Conklin and Willis yet. Cleveland's backup tackles are James Hudson and Alex Taylor, as both would be projected to start if the starters can't go. Hudson has allowed 6 pressures and 65 pass blocking snaps this season, while Taylor has yet to record a snap in the NFL. Wow, big words. For Major League Baseball, the National League Championship Series, the Dodgers were within 5 outs of going down 0-3 to the Braves in the best-of-7 LCS, but Cody Bellinger came through in the 8th inning with a clutch game-tying home run off Atlanta reliever Luke Jackson. 1 out later, Mookie Bettis doubled home Chris Taylor to give the Dodgers a 6-5 lead. That would stand as the final score of Game 3. The Braves still lead the series 2-1, headed to Wednesday's Game 4. Bellinger's series-altering 3-run homer came on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball that was well above the zone. Rather than take the pitch for ball 2, Bellinger clubbed 399 feet to right center, and in doing so, he erased a bit of a deficit at 5-2 with one swing and kept alive the Dodgers' bid to repeat as World Series. Barged to a first-inning lead thanks to a 2-run Corey Seager homer off Braves starter Charlie Morton. That 2-0 lead held into the fourth inning when the Braves put 4 runs on the board at the expense of LA starter Walker Buehler. Buehler had been pitching well until a misplay by Gavin Lux in center field, and then what appeared to be a missed strike 3 call preceded his unraveling. The Braves added a 5th run in the 5th inning when Adam Duvall singled home Ozzie Albies. All of that, though, served as a prelude to Bellinger's heroics. Kenley Jansen worked the 9th to protect the 1-run lead and pick up his first save of the 2021 season. For the Braves, Freddie Freeman broke out of his NLCS slump with 3 singles. With the series now 2-1, still in favor of the Braves, Game 4 will be back at Dodger Stadium on Wednesday. 6-5, Dodgers win. Back over to the NBA, where Marvin Bagley III has made some news. While several members of the 2018 NBA draft class signed hefty contract extensions this summer, one notable name left out of the fun was Kings forward Marvin Bagley III. Wasn't a terribly surprising omission, as Bagley has struggled to live up to his number 2 draft, especially when guys like Luka Doncic and Trae Young were taken after him. Wow. However, Bagley's agent, Jeff Schwartz, had some strong opinions on his situation in Sacramento, quoting, "For Marvin Bagley, he is not in the opening night rotation, which is completely baffling. It's clear they have no plans for him in the future, and yet passed on potential deals at last year's deadline, and this summer, based on value, instead, they chose to bring him back but not play him, a move completely contradictory to their value argument. This is a case study in mismanagement by the Kings organization," end quote. Those are some fiery words from Bagley's agent. It could become quite the headache to deal with for the Kings. Bagley will enter restricted free agency this summer after not agreeing to a rookie scale extension. And given Schwartz's claim that Bagley isn't in the Kings' rotation to start the season, it appears unlikely he'll be brought back for the season. When Bagley's been healthy, he's put up respectable numbers with career averages of 14.5 points and 7.4 rebounds. However, his ability to stay healthy, yes, that's a little bit of a sticky wicket, we like to call. Yes, indeed, a little sticky wicket. In his career thus far, after playing in just 13 games in his sophomore season due to various injuries and missing a chunk of last season with a broken hand, he was expected to be fully healthy entering this season, and there was no reason to expect him to not be in the rotation, given that he started 42 of 43 games last season and has averaged 25.5 minutes over 3 seasons. Impossible, but true. In college football, Missouri landed a commitment from one of the top players in the 2022 recruiting class on Tuesday when 5-star receiver Luther Burden picked the Tigers over Alabama and Georgia. Burden is considered the number 6 overall prospect in the class and number 2 wide receiver by the 247 Sports Composite rankings. Burden immediately became the highest-ranked player in Missouri's 2022 highest commitment for the Tigers in the 247 Sports era. His commitment comes as a welcome year Missouri head coach Eli Drinkwitz, as the Tigers have struggled to a 3-4, 0-3 in the SEC mark this season. Missouri was already putting together a strong class, ranked 18th nationally and 6th in the SEC, by the 247 sports team rankings, and Burden's commitment only solidifies the strong group. In the WNBA news, well, there are big winners, but there are always sore losers. The NBA announced on Tuesday the Phoenix Mercury organization has been fined $10,000 after players skipped. Thank you. Let's pop it down. Thank you. Let's try that line one more time. The WNBA announced on Tuesday that the Phoenix Mercury organization has been fined $10,000 after players skipped the mandatory media duties following the team's Game 4 loss to the Chicago Sky in the 2021 WNBA Finals. In doing so, the players violated, quote, league rules governing post-game media interview access, end quotation. With their season on the line, the Mercury built a 14-point second-half lead over the Sky in Game 4. It looked for a time like they were going to send things back to Phoenix for a winner-take-all Game 5. But they weren't able to hold on, however, and fell apart down the stretch for a heartbreaking and embarrassing loss. Frustrated by the outcome and the manner in which it happened, the Mercury players chose to head straight for the bus instead of coming to the press conference room. Head coach Sandy Brondello did, however, speak to reporters. Eventually, the players spoke to the media during exit interviews the following day at Phoenix. Quote, Diana Taurasi had this to say, quote, we just had to take a minute, and that's what we did. We were a pretty devastated team. We had hopes of coming back here tomorrow night. Kia Vaughn added, quote, yesterday was very emotional. I don't think anyone should focus on the fact that a lot of us were emotionally drained. It was more about celebrating Chicago. And in addition, Taurasi also addressed a report from the next, Alex Simon, that she broke a door in the visitors' locker room after Game 4. Quote, the door was severely cracked, though, through the middle, which an eyewitness said came from Taurasi slamming the door multiple times, per Simon's report. Taurasi said of that, there were a lot of doors in there. End quote. The Sky responded with a bit of trolling by bringing the broken door to their championship parade and celebration in Chicago on Tuesday. Wazoo! So that is kind of weird, isn't it? Yes, indeed. Okay, before we go any further and hit the media links and get you a little sports leftovers, we do one important thing here on this broadcast, and that is we give you a pump up of some joy, otherwise known as let's see what's on next show. That's right. The humble Minnesota lawyer Nick Rekieta is back with another week of entertaining topics on law-splaining the interwebs. Tonight, Adam Krigler joins Nick on censorship news and memes. That's exciting, don't you think? Yes, indeed. And that is on the Rekieta Law Channel, Law-Splaining the Interwebs with the humble Minnesota lawyer Nick Rekieta and guest. Tonight, midnight Eastern, in fact, right now, as a matter of fact, right here on YouTube. Okay. Let's, those are your headlines right now. Let's get you over to the other little fun fest we love to do, and that is international sports. In fact, soccer be thy name. In Champions League action in Group A, Manchester City 5, Club Brugge 1, Paris Saint-Germain 3, Leipzig 2. In Group B, Liverpool over Atletico Madrid 3-2, Porto over AC Milan 1-0. Group C, Sporting Lisbon over Besiktas 4-1. Ajax blanked Borussia Dortmund 4-0. In Group D, Inter Milan defeated Sheriff Tiraspol 3-1. Real Madrid over Shakhtar Donetsk 5-0. In the Europa Leagues, Group 6, Celtic over Ferencvárosi 2-0. In championship soccer, it was Nottingham Forest over Bristol 2-1. Derby County and Luton Town tied at 2. Queens Park Rangers over Blackburn Rovers 1-0. Millwall over Sheffield United 2-1, and Bournemouth over Stoke City 1-2. In FA qualifying scores, Buxton 3, Kettering Town 1, Halifax Town 1, Pontefract Collieries 0, Eastleigh 3, Folkestone Invicta 2, Gateshead 3, Marks United 2, Grizzly over Brackley Town 2-1, Hayes and Ealing and Dorking Wanderers tied at 2, but Hayes and Ealing won in penalty kicks 4-3. York City over Morpeth Town 3-1. Notts County over Tamworth 4-0. St. Albans City and Corinthian Casuals tied at 1. However, St. Albans City did win 4-2 on penalties. Weymouth and Yeovil Town 1-1, but Yeovil Town did win over Weymouth 2-1 on penalties. Wrexham over Marine 2-0. Yatetown and Dover Athletic were postponed due to other circumstances. Okay, let's take you on around the wide world of sport. As soon as we get the picture, there we go. Okay. No. By the way, in the Europa League group stage, Celtic over Ferencváros 2-0. In Euro Cup basketball, Turk Telekom over Levalos 73-65. Partizan over Hamburg 106-97. Juventud Badalona over Trento 86-56. Valencia over Prometheus 92-82. Cedevita Olimpia over Gran Canaria 79-77. Updating our NBA score right now with less than a minute to play. Los Angeles Lakers hold a 2-point lead over the Golden State Warriors 85-83. In Swedish hockey, Frölunda over Timrå 5-2. And after penalty shots, Örebro over Oskarshamn 5-4. And in the Czech Republic, the Extraliga, Plzeň over Sparta Prague 5-4. Let's take you now for a ride in the world of Major League of Japanese baseball. The Nippon Ham Fighters defeated the Seibu Lions by a score of 6-2. Nabatami gets the win for the Fighters. He's 1-0. Takahashi suffers another loss by the Lions. He's 11-9. Yokohama Bay Stars and the Yomiuri Giants ended up in a 4-4 tie. No winners, no losers. The Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks blanked the Chibalati Marines 6-0. Senga got the big win for the Hawks. He's 9-3. Ojima got the loss for the Marines. He's 10-4. Hanshin Tigers blanked the Akut Swallows 11-0. Aoyagi got the win for the Tigers. He's 13-5. Okugawa gets a loss. He's 9-4. Oric Buffaloes over the Rakuten Golden Eagles 6-3. Tajimi with the win for the Buffaloes. He's 8-8. Hayakawa with the loss for the Eagles. He's 9-7. In South Korean baseball, the Kia Tigers over the SSG Landers by a score of 5-4. Kiwoom Heroes over the LG Twins 5-4. NC Dinos over KT Wiz Swan 4-2. Doosan Bears over the Samsung Lions 5-0. My 12:07. We are probably gonna make this after all. Yay. Okay, let's hit the Media Fantastique and go with some headlines. All right, let's get you a little bit of Stan Van Gundy. A novel thing in broadcasting is that most former players and coaches tend to find one network and stick with them. But that's not the case with former NBA coach Stan Van Gundy, who first joined ESPN in 2018 after a aborted 2012 move there that then Commissioner David Stern reportedly nixed. Then he moved to Turner Sports in 2019 and spoke about how much better of a fit that was. Van Gundy then left Turner to take a coaching job with the New Orleans Pelicans in October 2020, but was fired by the team in June, then rejoined Turner a couple of months later. He's calling TNT's first opening night game, or he called TNT's first opening night game Tuesday night, and ahead of that, he spoke to media members along with fellow NBA on TNT analyst Reggie Miller on a conference call Friday. On that call, in response to a question from our friends at Awful Announcing, Van Gundy said he told his agent Turner was the only broadcasting opportunity he really wanted to pursue. Quote, the first step for me wanting to get back into broadcasting was Pelicans Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations, David Griffin, firing me. That was step one. But once I got fired, I told my agent, he contacted me, and I said, yeah, I would like to do it again, but the only place I want to work is Turner. Number one, my experience with them over the years at Turner and NBA TV was outstanding. Van Gundy said his previous time at Turner left him with plenty of fond memories. Quote, they treated me really, really well. I liked not only the other broadcasters and things, but the people behind the scenes, the producers, directors. The atmosphere is great, and it's great for me to be able to be around the game and still be out there every night. And quite honestly, it's a lot less stressful. We can wholeheartedly agree on that. When asked by Barrett Sports Media's Ricky Keeler about how he sees his game analyst role, Van Gundy says he still views himself as a work in progress as a game analyst. He said his Turner colleagues have done a lot to help him improve. Quote, with me, it's a lot different. Reggie's been at this a long time. He's a lot better at it than I am. This is my second year, really, of doing it. I've done some college stuff in between other jobs, so I'm just trying to learn and get better every day, and hopefully every game I do, I'll be a bit better. I try to focus on two things. One is I try to make sure that I'm really well prepared going in, that I know the teams I'm watching, that I've watched them play recent games on film, that I've spent time looking at all the numbers and everything I can. And then the second thing is I ask for a lot of feedback, particularly from the play-by-play guys I work with. I started working at Turner 2 years ago with Ian Eagle, and he's not only a great play-by-play guy, but a great coach, and he gave me a lot of help in that regard. And then in the bubble, I also worked with Spiro Didi and Anderson, and they gave me a lot of help. I worked the other night with Kevin Harlan, and just asking those people to give you feedback, and the same with the producers and directors, end quote. Van Gundy said he always wants honesty from his co-workers, and Turner provided that. When Sports Media Watch's John Lewis asked about Turner versus ESPN, Van Gundy clarified he didn't specifically turn down ESPN, but that he told his agent he was only interested in going to Turner. And we couldn't agree with him more. Turner is is where the studliness always begins. Something that's been very notable in the fallout from the revelation of John Gruden's emails to Bruce Allen and Gruden later resigning from the Vegas Raiders is that there hasn't been a whole lot of public comments from NFL Player Association Executive Director D. Maurice Smith. Smith was the focus of perhaps the worst email there, the racist trope, referencing dumb Boris Smith has ellipsitis of Michelin tires, end quote. He addressed that in a statement to the Wall Street Journal, which was the first media outlet to publish that email, in a story from reporter Andrew Beaton, and discussed it a little further on the ESPN podcast with Bowman Jones, but opted to let that statement largely stand for itself in other media outlets. This month's Real Sports with Brian Gumbel premiered Tuesday night on HBO, and its HBO Max sister featured Brian Gumbel interviewing Smith. And interestingly enough, that's in a segment pulled together very quickly by sports standards. Many of the shows featured are planned out months in advance, and Real Sports lists the planned segments. Bring that down. Um, for their October edition was sent out last Wednesday before the Gruden story broke. In fact, um, Awful Announcing learned that the segment they planned on ESPN's Jalen Rose was bumped to make room for the new Gumbel Smith interview. And while no one has yet viewed the full Gumbel Smith interview, an advanced transcript from HBO suggests there's a lot of interesting stuff here, especially when it comes to Smith's comments about broadcasters of color, perhaps particularly Mike Tirico and Tony Dungy, who defended Gruden last Sunday. Now, there's limited news at any of those networks beyond ESPN, but the other three have all Sunday NFL shows, and FS1 has a daily studio programming. CBS has CBS Sports HQ, and NBC Peacock have a daily pro football talk show, Eison's show. So it's interesting that Smith chose Real Sports as a venue to first really discuss this on TV, and Gumbel's record and stature within the industry perhaps is a reason why. And it's tremendous for HBO that they have someone like Gumbel who can not only lead this coverage, but get this kind of TV exclusive interview. And that's the name of that tune. All right. Scusa. Well, if you happen to have been looking at Paramount Plus for your soccer coverage, well, you kind of got shaded. There have been plenty of notable sports outages over the years, from those with virtual multi-channel video programming, YouTube TV, and Hulu Plus Live TV, to those with actual local broadcast affiliates like the ransomware attack on Sinclair-owned stations that they have been dealing with, to those with over-the-top streaming services like ESPN Plus. The latest notable issue is in that latter camp, and it's from Viacom CBS streaming service Paramount Plus. That outage coming during Tuesday's UEFA Champions League matches. Viacom CBS, as you know, won the U.S. rights to that competition in November 2019 and put most of it on Paramount Plus, then at the time called CBS All Access. And that's mostly seemed to have gone okay, aside from complaints about many matches only being shown on streaming services, but that likely would have happened with the streaming arm of whatever company won the rights. On Tuesday, though, there were significant Paramount Plus issues for many viewers trying to watch individual UEFA Champions League matches, with those outages lasting more than 30 minutes for some. In fact, the writer tried his own Paramount Plus service on an attempt to watch the Atletico Madrid-Liverpool game, and, well, he said that he found an error. Ooh. You don't have the other show? This was not a universal error. Awful Announcing, we are on the air, was able to confirm that some people were able to access Champions League matches on Paramount Plus during this period. And the main whip around came back sooner than the individual matches for some, and some individual matches came back for some before others, but this was a notable outage and one that lasted more than 30 minutes for a significant number of people. Okay, wazoo. Alrighty. I think that's going to wrap it up. Man. Oh, not yet. Okay, thank you. Well, Danica Patrick is going to be a very busy woman. With the 2020 edition canceled due to COVID, this weekend's United States Grand Prix will be the first F1 race held in the U.S. since the start of what is pretty clearly a boom period for the sport here. Thanks in least in part to the popularity of Netflix's excellent Drive to Survive docuseries, American television ratings have boomed, which is a big win for ESPN considering their current deal. ESPN's coverage is simply a simulcast of the Sky Sports broadcast, which is usually made up of British and European voices. This weekend, though, That Sky team will include an American voice. Danica Patrick will be joining for the weekend as the Grand Prix visits the U.S. Patrick, of course, drove IndyCar and NASCAR during her career and has broadcasting experience with NBC as well as with CBS. Now, this via the Sky Sports PR department. Motor racing icon Danica Patrick is joining Sky Sports F1 for her home United States Grand Prix this weekend. She is widely renowned as the most successful woman in the history of American open wheel racing. Will be part of our bumper punditry team, providing analysts on all the action live from Austin, Texas. She'll be part of our presentation and punditry team this weekend at the U.S. Grand Prix alongside Jenson Button and Martin Brundle. Now, Patrick, for her part, says she's been closely following this season's epic title race between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Patrick will be a welcome addition to the team and a nice conduit for potentially new American audiences who would consider tuning in for the home race. Now, it's worth noting that for all the gains F1 has made in the U.S. this year, the United States Grand Prix itself starts at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday up against the NFL schedule. Now, that could be a tough sleddor from a viewership perspective for a sport that normally has little opposition for American broadcast windows. Those race itself is a sellout. By the way, happy Wednesday, everybody. And it's Wednesday, and you know what that doesn't mean. AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite, once again, will be airing this Saturday night at 8 on TNT because it's NHL Double Dip on Wednesday on TNT. Games, of course, to be made known. In fact, we're going to make it known right now since we are desperately to stall for time. So let's go for the NHL here and see what 2 NHL games will be made available to viewers. So if we got, let's, we don't want standings. We want schedule. Thank you, guys. Thank you in the control room. Okay, here are the games for note on Wednesday, October 20th. 7:30 p.m. You got Boston and Philadelphia on TNT and Sportsnet 1 for our Canadian viewers. And the nightcap has the St. Louis Blues taking on the Vegas Golden Knights at 10 p.m. on TNT. And for Canadian viewers, French Canadian viewers, it'll be shown on TVA Sports. And since we're on the subject, we might as well do this to kill more time. Let's give you the this will be something new that we'll be doing from off and on. We'll give you the schedule for the week. So let's do Thursday and Friday. Thursday's games, the 7 o'clockers, Carolina at Montreal. That game will be on Bally Sports South, RDS in French, Canadian, and TSN 2, also in Canada. San Jose at Ottawa, 7 p.m. on TSN 5. Or excuse me, yeah, that is TSN 5, RDS 2, and NBC Sports California. Colorado at Florida, 7 p.m. as usual, Bally Sports Florida, and Altitude. Washington Capitals at New Jersey, also at 7 on MSG Plus and NBC Sports Washington. Islanders at Columbus, 7 p.m. Eastern on Bally Sports Ohio and MSG Plus 2. Calgary at Detroit, 7:30 on Sportsnet East, Sportsnet Ontario, Sportsnet West, and Bally Sports Detroit. The 8 p.m. and 8:30 games, respectfully, are the Rangers at Nashville, will be on Bally Sports South and MSG. Anaheim Ducks and Winnipeg will be on TSN 3, Bally Sports SoCal, and Bally Sports San Diego. Vancouver at Chicago, 8:30 on Sportsnet Pacific and NBC Sports Chicago. And the final game for Thursday night will be Edmonton at Arizona. That game on Sportsnet 360, Sportsnet West, and Bally Sports Arizona. We'll give you the Friday ones on Thursday, and of course the big old trip of Saturday viewage for you as well. Also, on the fun-filled fiesta we like to call Hockey Night. So there we go. That is your lovely thing known as the NHL squeaky wiki in review. By the way, we're going to start doing the same thing for the NBA. So let's take a look at the schedule for the NBA for this week. For Wednesday, as we do this and do that, for Wednesday, 7 p.m. and 7:30, it's the Indiana Pacers and the Charlotte Hornets, which will be on Bally Sports. Let's see, Bally Sports Southeast Charlotte and Bally Sports Indiana. Chicago Bulls taking on the Detroit Pistons will be seen on Bally Sports Detroit and NBC Sports Chicago. The big old national game will be 7:30 on ESPN, Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks. 7:30 game, Washington Wizards, Toronto Raptors will be seen on both TSN and NBC Sports Washington. 8 o'clock game, the Cleveland Cavs and the Memphis Grizzlies, Bally Sports Ohio and Memphis, and Bally Sports South, Memphis, and Bally Sports Ohio. That's right. So let's go back to so let's get it correct here. It's Bally Sports South, Charlotte. Okay, let's keep going. 8 o'clock games, Houston Rockets, Minnesota Timberwolves, Bally Sports North, and AT&T Sportsnet South. Philadelphia 76ers, New Orleans Pelicans, Bally Sports New Orleans, and NBC Sports Philadelphia. Orlando Magic, San Antonio Spurs, Bally Sports Southwest, San Antonio, and Bally Sports Florida. 9 p.m. game will be Oklahoma City Thunder, Utah Jazz on AT&T Sportsnet, Rocky Mountain, of course, and Bally Sports Oklahoma. The other half of the ESPN games of doubleness, 10 p.m. Denver Nuggets, Phoenix Suns, not only on ESPN, but also Bally Sports Arizona and Altitude. Let's go to that one game. Okay, thank you. We had to make sure that one was exclusive ESPN. The 10 o'clock game will be Sacramento Kings, Portland Trailblazers, Root Sports, and NBC Sports California with that game. Let's see. You want to do Thursday night, or do you want to do that tomorrow night? We'll do the Thursday round on Wednesday night. So there you go, folks. By the way, 5:03 left play in the Magical Mystical regulation time. Thank you. See, my brain is working. And let's give you the game right now. We got about 5:03 remaining. Golden State leads 108 to 101. That is a cougar of a game. Indeed, a cougar of a game that they're showing tonight. And let's see, do we have it right? Yeah, 108, 101, Golden State Warriors, 4:20 left to play in the game on TNT. Of course, that is followed by Inside the NBA. We hope you watch that because that is number one must-see sports TV. And with that, we have just come to the end of our broadcast, and we want to thank you all very much for tuning in. We are slowly getting back to normal here, and it's going to take us a little while to get our feet back into the wetness again, but give us time, and we will refill our sporty balls for tomorrow night at 11:30 right here on the Sports Final Network. That's the L2C Media Network. I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley for Harry Von Stuttgart, our announcer, and the gang in the control room and all around the sports world. Steve the Baxman Baxley saying thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports and YouTube. We will talk to you tomorrow night at 11:35 right here on the L2C Media Network. Thanks for watching, everybody. For everyone here at Sports Final, I'm Steve the Baxman Baxley. Good night, everybody.